Starsiege Deadzone is the new extraction shooter on the market. Has a lot more to offer than what people realize. My friends mostly downloaded it as a pastime, waiting for the next big title. But in this video, I'm going to be showing you why this game is different and giving you 5 beginner tips to help you understand what you need to know to get started in Starsiege Deadzone. So as always, check out the other socials and please do enjoy. For tip number 1, we're gonna talk about the armor. Now, in Starsiege Deadzone, you don't drop your armor on death. This is because your armor holds mastery points. Your mastery points can be leveled from 2 all the way up to 6. On level 2 up to 4, it gives you a boost to your character in one way or another, whether it's a boost of movement speed when you take damage or just an overall increased sprint speed. 2 through 4 on your mastery page is going to give your character an increase. However, hitting level 6 on a mastery is going to increase one of your abilities. For Recon 6, when exiting from stealth, you gain 20% damage for 4 seconds. So pay attention to these masteries. Figure out which ones you want to get. The stat rolls are random when you purchase an armor or when you craft an armor. It's going to be a random draw. So you kind of have to just go through the burden of purchasing and re-rolling until you get the right roll, or at least enough for you to be happy with what your character runs. For tip number 2, I'm going to talk about the 2 types of weapons in Starsiege Deadzone. So you have your kinetic weapons and you have your energy weapons. So your kinetic weapons are generally the best for PvP because your bullets have fast travel time, almost instantaneous. So you know where you're aiming is where your bullets go. Whereas energy weapons are a little bit slower. The projectiles are very visible, very dodgeable, especially at a distance, about 25 meters or more. But it does deal more damage for hybrids. So generally you use your energy weapon to kill the AI, and you use your kinetic weapon to kill players. But it is another thing I want to point out is that once you start collecting loot, you'll notice that guns are not the same just because they're the same rarity. So you'll notice here that these guns, they all have different mods on them. They have different mag size, different fire rate, and even some guns will have different damage. You'll see here that the damage fluctuates on these pistols. So pay attention to what gun you have. Look at the hybrid damage. Look at the player damage. Pay attention to whether it's kinetic or whether it's energy, so that you're using the correct weapon for the job and you don't get hung up in PvP situations. You're using the wrong weapon, not knowing what's going on, and getting yourself hung up. So when you're running through the map on Starsiege Deadzone and you're looting and you're scooting and you're fighting, your inventory is going to fill up very quick and you're going to have a lot of items and you're not going to be too sure exactly what is and isn't good to grab. So I'm going to give you the basic rundown here. Crafting supplies are almost always good to grab, especially once you get into the green rarity. This stuff is going to be used whether it's for a kinetic weapon, an energy weapon, or armor. You're going to use one of the 3 materials. And then all other crafting materials are going to be needed as well, because regardless of what you're crafting, whether it's armor, whether it's weapons, you're going to need one or another to get the job done. Another thing is, you know, if you're finding a lot of gray sellables around the map, the gray weapons sell for more than a gray sellable, and the green weapons sell for more than a green sellable item. So when you're out looting, and when you're out, you know, looting players or kills or whatnot, and your inventory's full, prioritize guns over sellables, and prioritize crafting when you need to acquire weapons. But generally, there's an abundance of weapons on Starsiege Deadzone, so you shouldn't really have a problem unless you're trying to craft or purchase a specific one. But either way, prioritize weapons over sellables because they sell for more. For tip number 4, I want to talk about PvP and movement. Now in Starsiege Deadzone, the movement is slower than any game I've really ever played before, but in a good way. It paces well with the abilities and the AI in PvP encounters. However, a mistake that I see a lot of new players making is jumping while fighting. Now, unlike most games, in Starsiege Deadzone, jumping just kind of makes you a sitting duck. With low gravity and limited flight controls, you're basically just a balloon, slowly losing helium and falling to the ground. So do not jump. And try to shoot out lights on the ceilings and on the walls, sometimes behind light fixtures. You really gotta look for them to reduce visibility, make it hard for enemy players to see you at a first glance. Don't be a rat, but use your surroundings and the environment to your benefit. For tip number 5, I want to go over progression. So progression in Starsiege Deadzone is quite simple. You start from the very beginning, level 1, and you progress all the way up to the cap right now, which is 75. The progression basically just unlocks different perks and abilities, extra safe container slots, extra perk slots, and extra inventory pages. Reputation is one that I get asked all the time. So reputation is basically the rank system in this game. It's the MMR. I love that they show it to you this way and they make it very easy for you to see what you're working towards. Basically, I am Bronze Cadet 1. The MMR just reset, so I have 0. As I progress, I will progress through Bronze 1 through 5, and this shows me when I have 200 reputation, I will be Bronze 2. When I have 600 reputation, I will be Bronze 3. When I have 1,000, I will officially be Silver 1. So as you progress higher up in the reputation board, going into a raid is going to start to cost you reputation. So if I am, for example, Platinum Knight or even higher up in the Gold Division, it's going to cost me, for example, about 53 of my reputation to go inside of a raid. When I go inside of that raid, if I extract, I get that 53 reputation back. If I do not, well, then I lose it. However, every time I kill a player or just find a player's death bag who hasn't been looted, I can right-click to loot the tag and actually acquire immediately that reputation. So that's basically how progression works. One more thing, though, is your contracts. Pay attention to your daily contracts, your weekly or whatever it is that they give you, because you can get a lot of really good stuff from here, especially later on in the game, later on in your levels. You start to get some pretty darn good stuff. Also, your seasonal progression, a lot of mine is maxed out right now as I level, but it'll be a lot of like kill cybrids, get headshots on cybrids, kill players, get headshots on players, etc. But pay attention to these, as these are going to be the primary ways that you acquire items outside of purchasing and crafting. And then obviously pay attention to your progression to look forward to anything that you're trying to unlock or anything for your build that you want to get. This is where you're going to find all of that, as well as your reputation. So I'm enjoying this game a lot, and I hope that you can start to share some of that enjoyment with me. If this video was helpful, consider leaving it a like. I'll be making a lot more Starsiege Deadzone content, so look forward to that. And as always, I'll see you next time.